For today's video, I'll be talking about probation management, and I'll be referring to a case that I read earlier today. So this case involved where an employee was dismissed for not successfully completing their probation period, and then the employee referred the matter to the CCMA. So the commissioner had to determine whether the employee's employment was subject to a probationary period and whether or not the dismissal was procedurally and substantively fair. So remember that a dismissal always has to meet the criteria of procedural and substantive fairness. And as I've explained in my previous videos, substantive fairness means that the grounds for dismissal are of such substance that they warrant a dismissal, and then procedural fairness means that the proper procedure was followed leading up to the dismissal. So the commissioner had to determine those three things. Now, the commissioner found that the employee's appointment was not subject to a probationary period. The reason for this is that the probationary period was only mentioned in the offer of employment and not in the employment contract. So it is important to mention the probationary period in the offer of employment as well as in your employment contract. Should you want a sample of an employment contract, I do have these available. I'll provide a link where you can link and access the template for employment contracts. And then the proper procedure was also not followed. So the procedure was flawed in the sense that the employer and the employee only had 3 check-in meetings, and then after that the employee was dismissed. So there were no minutes of those discussions, and also there were no formal invitations, and there was also not an inquiry that led up to the dismissal of the employee. So there were just those 3 check-in meetings, and then after that the employee was dismissed. So it is important to manage the probation properly. I do have a template available as well for probation management. You will also find it in the same link that I will provide. So now the commissioner ordered that the employee be paid her 4-month salary. So the employee was earning a salary of 47,000, and then the total award then was 188,000 if I'm not mistaken. So the employer had to pay the employee that 188,000 for not having managed the probation period importantly. So key takeaways: mention the probation period in the offer of employment, in the employment contract, and then also manage it properly, document everything, and then follow the right procedure leading up to the dismissal.